Hello, and welcome back to the world of Gaea. Hitomi Kanzaki, an ordinary schoolgirl, is transported to Gaea after helping Van Fannel kill a dragon. They battle the Zabak Empire and meet many amazing allies on their way. Make sure to subscribe and like for more. Hitomi Kanzaki joins her team's running session and suddenly has a vision midway through. While running, she sees a boy in front of her, but she can't stop and runs right through him, collapsing. Hitomi then finds herself in a blinding light, which fades to reveal 5 Zabak robots. She overhears the boy talking with his sword master, Balgus, about killing a dragon and sees 2 robots, including a Scaflam, before the ground breaks under her and an angel saves her from falling. Hitomi wakes up with Amano by her bedside, and they discuss her running performance. Amano notices her pendant, a gift from her grandmother, and they use it to count seconds. As Amano is about to speak, Hitomi's friend Yukari Ochida interrupts, bringing her duffel bag. At home, Hitomi uses her tarot cards and learns Amano will leave for professional track and field, possibly predicting future events. She challenges Amano to a race, betting her first kiss if she runs 100 meters in 13 swings of her pendant. For once, let's root for someone other than the protagonist so that he can feel the touch of a woman. During the race, a flash of light reveals the boy from her vision, Van Fannel, who saves her before a land dragon appears, and he fights it. Hitomi sees a vision of Van's death and warns him, so Van manages to kill the dragon, retrieves a jewel, and he and Hitomi are lifted to Gaea, a strange planet with Earth and its moon in the sky. Van and Hitomi land in a field on Gaea, surrounded by wolf men. One recognizes Van and offers him a ride home. During the ride, Van learns that Hitomi is from the mystic moon, Earth. They arrive in Fanilia, where Van receives a hero's welcome as the prince. A cat girl named Merle greets him enthusiastically as a council of knights confirms that Van has completed the dragon-slaying rite. Hitomi daydreams about home when Merle, jealous of her relationship with Van, steals her pendant. They chase through the palace, and Hitomi sees Van practicing sword techniques with Balbus, who criticizes him for hesitating and being reluctant to be king. Meanwhile, the wolf men leave Fanilia, notice something odd in the forest, but ignore it. Strange machinery appears in the trees as Van is crowned. Suddenly, invisible Gaimalefs attack Fanilia, but the city is defenseless against these hidden foes, and its knights fall quickly. Van rushes to get his Gaimalef, Escaflaum. Hitomi recognizes it from her vision and helps Van by sensing the enemy's positions. With Balgus's help, he destroys several attackers before Balgus orders him to flee with Hitomi, but is killed. His last command is for Van to take Escaflaum and escape, to return and rebuild Fanilia. Surrounded, Hitomi's pendant activates, and she, Van, and Escaflaum are transported away in a beam of light. The beam of light transports Van, Escaflaum, and Hitomi to the ground. Van realizes he's still on Gaea, but Hitomi lands elsewhere, alone in the forest. Hitomi uses her pendant for direction when a man with round glasses attacks her, fascinated by it. An owl attacks him, and a blond man rescues Hitomi. She mistakes him for her crush, Amano, and cries in his arms before Van hears her scream and finds her fainted near the blond man. Van decides to challenge him, but is defeated, after which the blond man, Alan Schezer, wonders why they are in the woods. Meanwhile, Delendau, the enemy leader who attacked Fanilia, is angry at his troops for losing to Hitomi's ability to see them. He and Fulkin, who betrayed Fanilia, contact Emperor Dornkirk, who says the dragon has fled, and the new power that caused the light must be captured. He instructs Fulkin to find the dragon on Asturia's frontier, while Hitomi dreams of Amano and wakes up among mercenaries including Alan, a knight of Asturia. He promises to protect her. Van, furious, demands Escaflaum's return, but Alan reveals Fanilia has been destroyed. Shocked, Van sees a fortress with Gaimalefs as Delendau asks Alan about a Gaimalef, and Alan calls Hitomi his lover to protect her. Delendau returns to plan an attack as Hitomi raids Van's Terup and sees the death card, experiencing a vision of fire and Delendau's laughter. The mole man from the forest rescues them underground, explaining his interest in Hitomi's pendant before they find a scaflown, and Van pilots it. Alan confronts Van in his Gaimalef, Sherazade, and they have an official duel, observed by Delando's forces. Van holds his own, even damaging Sherazade, but Alan defeats him in the end, revealing Balgus was his sword master too. Van exits Iskaflown at Alan's sword point as Hitomi's presence makes Iskaflown's heart glow, giving her a vision of the fort being attacked. Hitomi drops to her knees, terrified, so Alan exits his Gaimalef and asks what's wrong. She warns that the invisible giants who destroyed Fenilia will attack as a soldier arrives with a prisoner Merle. Van frees her, and she confirms Fenilia was destroyed. Hitomi faints after another vision, and Alan, noticing her fever, catches her. The Emperor instructs Fulkin to capture the dragon, while Delenda vows to leave no survivors. Despite their alliance with Asturia, Hitomi wakes and talks to Alan about her home and mother. Alan tells her about his own mother and missing sister holding her hand. Van, seeing this, walks away silently after finding a seed in Merle's cheek and prepares medicine from Glar leaves to neutralize the poison. My man got cut. Alan organizes the defense before Hitomi simply has another vision while talking to Merle and foresees the giant's arrival. As the attack begins, Alan fights in his Gaimalef, but Delenda's forces overpower the defenders, so Van asks for a scaflown, and Alan says it's on the crusade and convinces Van that retreat isn't cowardly, but strategic, so they escape through the waterfall onto the crusade. Delenda orders an aerial pursuit, but Alan fights back while Van transforms a scaflown into a dragon, drawing enemies away. He catches a dragon wind and leads the Zabak Gaimalefs away, losing them in the process. While pursued by Delendau and his dragon slayers, Van lands a scaflown due to poor winds. They use stealth cloaking, trapping Van with their claws. Delendau captures him and takes him aboard the Zybok floating fortress, Vion. On the crusade, Alan's men vow revenge, but must first find the fortress. Hitomi believes she can locate it, and even though Alan wants her to stay out of war, she insists on proving her abilities. Delenda tells Fulkin he has sent teams to find the crusade. They approach Iskaflown, and Delendau suggests destroying it. Fulkin disagrees, wanting to understand its importance. He touches Iskaflown's energist, ejecting Van from the pilot's seat, shocking Delendau. The crusade stops for repairs, so Hitomi gives Alan a tarot reading, learning he resents his father. Van wakes up in front of Fulkin, refuses to show him Iskaflown, and reveals his wings, showing he's Van's brother, Fulkin Fanel, before Van passes out from his needle. Hitomi, Alan, and Merle use dowsing to find the Vion in a Levistone Valley as the crusade lands and Alan's men invade, rescuing Van. Hitomi has a vision of Van's attack, jumps across the gap, and warns Van just in time, after which he injures Delendau, and the crusade retreats. Van thanks Hitomi and the crew, heading towards Pallas, the capital of Asturia. The crusade heads towards Asturia. Hitomi notices Alan deep in thought and wonders if he's thinking about her tarot reading. Concerned, Alan assures her they'll soon arrive safely in Pallas, Asturia's capital, advising her to keep her abilities secret. Meanwhile, Merle searches for Van and finds him on the Iskaflown, reminiscing about Fulkin during the Vion attack. In Pallas, Princess Malerna Aston greets Alan on horseback, and he introduces her to Van as Fenelia's king. Malerna remembers meeting Fulkin in Fenelia, causing Van discomfort. During an audience with King Grava Aston, Alan reports Zybak's attack on Castello, breaching their peace pact, but Grava dismisses Alan, who argues duty to protect Van. Fulkin claims Fenelia attacked first, demanding a scaflown, and Van and Grava challenges Alan's loyalty, torn between Van's promise and Asturia's safety. At the bazaar, the royal court becomes interested in Iskaflown as Hitomi sees a dolphin man and remembers Yukari and Amano. She foresees danger for Van, hurrying after him with Merle. Van confronts Fulkin, who discloses his rebirth and Zabak's quest for a new world order. Hitomi rushes to warn him and tackles Van as Delendau prepares an attack, but they have a change of plan and are led to a dueling arena where Grava tests his Scaflown against three opponents as Hitomi senses danger for Van in the upcoming battle. The group reaches Freed and meets Prince Chid, who is Malerna's nephew. Plactu, a powerful monk, arrives in Freed to question Miguel, a dragon slayer captured during the battle. However, Zonji, a double loyal to Foken, kills Plactu and takes his place. Zonji manipulates Miguel into accusing Alan and the group of treason against Astoria, after which Miguel manages to escape, but Van destroys his Gynolef. Zonji later kills Miguel to cover his tracks, and after the fight, Van and the others are captured and imprisoned. Hitomi is taken in for questioning by Plactu, who is really Zonji in disguise. She realizes his true identity and foresees a dark future for both of them. Her heart temporarily stops, but Van brings her back with CPR. We all know what that means. Prince Chid allows Van and Hitomi to chase after Zonji, who heads to a temple to meet Delendau, who kills Zonji as payback for Miguel's death, and then confronts Van and Hitomi when they arrive. They narrowly escape and make their way back to Freed, where the false charges against them are dismissed. Duke Freed arrives at the castle and agrees to allow Alan and the others to help in defending Freed. That night, Van asks Hitomi to predict where Zybot will attack next, but she refuses, feeling uneasy about being manipulated. Disturbed, she goes outside and decides to do a tarot reading for Prince Chid, revealing that he was born from a forbidden love. Meanwhile, Malerna discovers a diary that belonged to her late sister Marlene and learns about Marlene and Alan's romantic relationship, and that Alan is Chid's biological father. The next day, Zabok arrives, and Freed prepares for a battle. The defenders of Freed's capital sacrifice themselves so Duke Freed and the others can escape safely. They gather at Fortuna Temple, where Duke Freed discloses that Freed possesses the ancient power of Atlantis, which led to the downfall of that civilization ages ago. Hitomi learns that Van is going to fuse with the Scaflown during battles, wanting to no longer rely on her foresight. Tensions escalate at the temple, resulting in Duke Freed's death after he decides to transfer the power to Zabok. Chid later shows this power to Foken as the crusade leaves from Fortuna Temple. Van exits Scaflown with serious wounds, and Hitomi realizes his injuries are connected to the damage on Scaflown. Vilena gathers everyone and takes them to her fiancé, Dryden, who utilizes the Hispanos to repair Scaflown, which in turn helps heal Van. Meanwhile, Delendau and the Dragon Slayers approach the crusade. Van battles them and successfully defeats each of them, but he shockingly collapses upon seeing their spectral images as Scaflown mysteriously turns black. Hitomi clings to Scaflown, trying to bring Van back from the brink of death. She successfully convinces him to return to life. Later, she accidentally tells Alan about her romantic feelings for him before running away. Meanwhile, Malerna asks for Hitomi's help with her feelings for Alan against her commitment to Dryden. That night, two weird-looking women with leopard-like features attack the crusade using Zabot Gimles. I'm sure some of you have a fetish for that. They nearly succeed in killing Van, but spare him after Merle intervenes. Dryden believes he has discovered a route to the Mystic Valley, and the crusade decides to change course in that direction. The two women, Naria and Iria, give a report to Foken while sorcerers escort Delendau back to Zabok. Dryden leads the crusade toward the Mystic Valley, reading excerpts from Alan's father's diary, which reveals his journey to the Mystic Valley and his meeting with Hitomi's grandmother years ago. The crusade reaches the Mystic Valley, but they are hotly pursued by the Zabok forces. In the Mystic Valley, Van sees visions of Balgus and his mentors from Phanelia. Alan learns the truth about his father's fate and confronts him as Hitomi gets blamed by Van's mother for their recent problems. Realizing her powers have inadvertently caused harm, Hitomi feels responsible for altering fate negatively. Suddenly, Naria and Iria manage to enter the Mystic Valley, but Scaflown appears and transports everyone away to safety. Van receives a new power source from his mother right before she vanishes as Alan, Hitomi, and him are transported to Zabok, where they come face to face with Dornkirk, who narrates his journey to becoming the person they're up against and locks them in cages. Classic bad guy move. Zabak's sorcerers try to dismantle Escaflown, causing Van intense pain, so Hitomi gives him the resolve to harmonize with Escaflown and teleport them out of Zabak. The Emperor uses a device to manipulate fate, trying to create a romantic relationship between Hitomi and Alan to influence their future. Hitomi initially resists, insisting that Alan is loved by Milerna instead. However, under the device's influence, she eventually gives in and the two kiss. Meanwhile, Van, who is searching for Hitomi, sees the two and leaves suddenly, feeling hurt and betrayed. My man got cucked again. Neria and Iria undergo a process that makes them nearly invincible luck warriors, as Milerna asks Hitomi to read her tarot cards regarding her upcoming marriage. Hitomi reluctantly agrees and predicts a disastrous future where Milerna and Alan, whom Hitomi secretly loves, become secret lovers. To change this fate, Hitomi lies to Milerna, saying the marriage will bring great fortune. Later, she realizes her mistake through a vision but can't stop the wedding in time. When Neria and Iria attack right after the ceremony, Hitomi realizes her meddling with fate using the luck tarot card made them unstoppable, so she sacrifices herself to make up for that mistake. The two Lippard women, suffering from the negative effects of the increased luck they acquired, retreat and leave Hitomi behind. Iria manages to return to Foken, but Neria crash lands. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Neria takes Hitomi captive, so Van and his soldiers begin a search for her. Despite Neria's weakened condition, Hitomi stays with her and tends to her injuries, as Van decides to fight Foken after realizing he cannot defeat the luck-enhanced warriors alone, but the Lippard women abandon Hitomi and intervene in the battle. Sadly, both Neria and Iria die in Foken's arms due to the luck procedure. This makes Foken finally rebel against the Emperor. Hitomi goes with Van to meet Foken in the remains of Fenilia. As they arrive, they face an attack by land dragons, so Van decides to battle them, but Foken steps in to save Hitomi from one of the dragons, then explains why he left Fenilia and sided with Zabak. He shields Van from the dragons and shows him his wings, now turned from white to pitch black. Foken reveals that he wanted to build a world without war and conflict, though his approach is different from Emperor Dornkirk's methods. Foken returns to Asturia with Van and Hitomi and tells the council the truth about recent events and helps them strategize for a counterattack. Meanwhile, Alan confides in Hitomi about fathering a child out of wedlock and then proposes marriage to her. Before Hitomi can give him an answer, the Empire launches an attack. She sees the battle through Van's eyes, feeling horrified as she senses his intense desire to protect her, which becomes a brutal determination in battle. Overwhelmed by the situation, Hitomi hurriedly prays to be sent back home before a beam of light surrounds her, instantly transporting her back to her own world. Hitomi arrives back on Earth, finding that it seems like the day before. In Gaea, Alan is reunited with his long-lost sister Selena, who has no memory of the past decade. He realizes his feelings for Hitomi were due to her resemblance to Selena before Selena transforms into Delandau and is taken away. Merle encourages Van to confess his love to Hitomi. On Earth, she realizes her genuine feelings for Van and decides to return with him to Gaea. Buckle up, boys, we're at the climax. Van sends Hitomi back to Asturia, while he and Alan head off to fight Zabak's advancing forces. Hitomi goes to find Foken, and unexpectedly they are both transported by a beam of light to Dornkirk's location before Foken kills Dornkirk, but the intensified fate causes his sword to break, stabbing himself. As Foken passes away, Hitomi's sorrow triggers her stone pendant, connecting with the fate-changing device. Dornkirk returns as a ghostly presence, advising Hitomi to witness the world's transformation according to plan. Meanwhile, during the battle, Van senses his brother's death and cries out in sorrow. Van starts battling Delandau, but Delandau's soldier Jajuka intervenes and reveals that she's actually Alan's long-lost sister, Selena. Just as Van prepares to strike Selena, Alan steps in to shield her, acknowledging her as his sister. Hitomi uses her telepathic powers to intervene and stop the fighting before Van arrives at her side, flying with his own wings. Feathers from his wings fall gently, bringing calm to the soldiers and ending the war. Seeing the power of Van and Hitomi's love destroy his grand scheme, Dornkirk accepts the idea that fate can be changed and abandons his ambitions, disappearing forever. As Gaea begins to rebuild after the battle, Van sends Hitomi back to her world, promising that their connection will stay through their shared minds. Thanks for joining us on today's journey. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and hit the bell to stay updated. Until next time, stay curious and don't go near Gaea.